So, is the Keeper your mother?
I left my clan when I was a child, to become Marathari's first. I haven't seen my parents in more than 10 years.
I'm so sorry. My father died in the Blight.
You must really miss them. I remember my mother singing to me when I was a little girl and I'd get sick. I think that's what I miss the most. The Keeper has a terrible singing voice.
I love you, Meryl. I really do. You're adorable. And I want to make you happy and feel better about things. And I want to see if I can help you with this. Guide you in a gentler path when it comes to this consorting with demons thing that you're doing. Go.
Every coin those swindlers nab goes straight to the carters' coffers. They must be stopped.
You asked what happened to Arlathan? Sadly, we do not know. Even those of us who kept the ancient lore have no record of what truly happened. Well, we have our accounts of the days before the fall and the fable of the whimsy gods. I think I read this before, but... Yes, I have. The castless dwarves of Orzammar have few prospects. Consigned to live in a crumbling ruin on the social and economic fringes of the mighty dwarven capital. The castless dwarves of Orzammar have few prospects. Consigned to live in a crumbling ruin on the social and economic fringes of the mighty dwarven capital, most resort to begging, prostitution, or crime. Just as all rivers eventually join the sea, all castles who turn to crime eventually become part of the Carta. The hero of Ferelden decimated the ranks of this ancient gang while rallying the dwarves to join in the battle against the archdemon Eurythamel. Unable to recover the power they once had in Orzammar, they turned their attention topside, using groups of surface-dwelling dwarves to smuggle weapons, lyrium, surface luxuries, people, and other goods between Orzammar and human lands. Despite the flow of business, its members are still desperate and violent. With no strong leader to rein in their excesses, they have little sense of dwarven honor, and frequently break their word, double-cross allies, and renege on deals. From the Stone and Her Children, Dwarves of the Dragon Age, by Brother Genitivi. Alright. Right, everybody.
Not a step closer. No refunds on the ashes, friend. If the Maker doesn't favor you, that's between you and him, isn't it?
Charming individual.
Don't say...
Alright. Ready? Bethany, get away. Everybody, get this guy. Okay. Hit him with the punch. Yeah, he's gonna try that crap. Alright. Everybody. Run, run, run. I'm gonna wait for this guy to pop up again. Come on, come on. Come on. There we go. Alright, everybody. Perfect. He's gonna do it again. Ah, he tried it again. Okay, everybody.
You regret this, surfacer.
We'll just keep on running you around in circles, buddy. Come on, spawn that assassin. Perfect. Of course. Heal her.
You will fall.
All right, and you. And that takes care of that. He did get a backstab on Aveline, but Aveline's good enough that.
Let's finish this.
Okay. Aveline. Okay. Nice, we got a health potion out of that guy.
Get back.
Yeah. Perfect. Alright. Oh, look, there's more of them. Okay, Dougie, you're doing okay. Now we can wait. Alright. Okay, Sergeant Melendro, let's see what you've got.
The thieves are gone, guardsman. Did you say something? I didn't hear you. And clumsy me. I seem to have dropped a coin purse in your hand.
Ah, that's satisfying. Alright, next. Okay. Let's take a look here. Check one thing. Yes, I want you to get more health. Nah, I'm gonna wait on that. I want that health up. Okay. That's nice. Wait on that. That's always good. Chain lightning is nice, but you've got to be able to remove magical attacks. Chain lightning will come next. Before I do this one, let's scout on the Wounded Coast for a moment. Meryl. Perfect. Ugh, I hate spiders. Okay.
The danger is past. Are you all right?
No thanks to this lot, can't get a decent blade at a bargain anymore. You, though, you're what a man needs. A skilled enthusiast.
I was attacked, I responded.
Your mess just picked me up on the way by.
Still better than what I had. Look, the name's Travaris Tintop. I need someone to help pacify the Qunari. Those hornheads in Kirkwall have a powder that explodes, and it's just dust. No lyrium, no demons. Anyone can use it.
Fools with swords are bad enough, but this?
They offered this to you?
I doubt they were eager to sell.
That Arishok said I wasn't worthy. That only their outcast, the Talvashoth, or that mercenary. I said, great, I'll go talk to them. Didn't go over well. But, made me think. Maybe he'll bargain if I get rid of something that bothers him more than, well, me.
The Talvashoth.
The Talvashoth. Are you up for some paid hunting?
Your people must have something like
Yes.
that already.
Small things, shaped to crack faults, not shatter the earth. Plus, they're mostly lyrium. Expensive, poisonous. The chantry controls it topside. The glow makes you a target. A problem after problem.
What's the point when we already have magic that can do the same thing?
Maybe you have magic, all tough and human and whatnot. But what of the common man?
Good point.
How does he remove stumps from his land, or produce them on his enemies? What does he do when he needs a hole far too fast? Magic is hard to market. But this stuff you can put in a bag.
I'll do it to hunt outlaws.
I suppose there could be a reward for these Talvashoth.
As long as you do it, I'm happy. Now, best I could figure, they're up the Wounded Coast, a whole camp. Take their heads off and meet me at the compound in Kirkwall. Get this right, and we'll be richly rewarded. Richly.
Embryums are flowers from the orchid family. Its therapeutic qualities were actually discovered because of the embryum's exceptional beauty. The beloved daughter of Lord Ignace Polenk of Orlais fell victim to a terrible sickness of the lungs, which her healers were unable to cure. Thinking the girl would soon perish, her parents surrounded her bed with brightly colored flowers, hoping that they would bring some warmth and cheer in her last days. Oddly enough, the girl began to recover from the illness and grew stronger each day. Her parents were baffled but overjoyed. The healers eventually learned that the fragrance of one of the flowers eased the child's breathing. The flower was an embryon, and later became known as the salubrious embryon. The other variant that has certain magical properties is known as dark embryon, an excerpt from the Botanical Compendium by Innes Arancia, botanist. Well, it's nice to read a positive and happy story for once. I'm glad that that girl survived. So many stories are depressing. It's nice to know that there's a good story with a happy ending. If it's true. Hopefully it is. Cast Treatise. Quest updated. Cast Treatise and House of Content. A defense is strictly a strict caste structure of interest to dwarven traditionalists. They rarely slum outside Hightown if they visit Kirkwall at all. Okay, so I know where to go. Let's keep pursuing.
You're so lucky.
How do you figure?
I wish I had a sister and a whole big family. It must be wonderful. You'd never be alone.
It is wonderful. Although it might be better without Uncle Gamler.
Okay. Here we go. Now then. That's a good start. These guys are the ones I'm concerned about. All right. Okay. So I'm going to try something. You know what? Let's... Nice. Okay. Go to the chantry and tell him, okay. I guess we'll go to the chantry then. We'll have to bring someone back here to open that up. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You must really like the Hawk family.
Why do you say that?
You came all the way from Lothering with them, didn't you? And they're not even your clan.
Humans don't have clans, Meryl.
Exactly. You came so far together, and you didn't even have a keeper to make you get along.
So your keeper tells you to stop kicking each other, or she'll turn the Aravel around?
Sometimes she also warns us to stop pulling hair.
I think you let this get away from you.
You just stumbled on this? Can't say I'm surprised. Bloody fools.
Okay. All right.
If you could do anything, just anything at all, what would you do?
That's easy. Be normal. No magic. Just normal.
Really? You wouldn't fly across Thedas or eat a cake the size of Kirkwall? Keep a baby griffin for a pet?
Well, now that you say it, the griffin might not be so bad.
I'd name mine Feathers.
Will everyone please just step back? My mother's in labor. The baby's come early. Can anyone help her? I'll send word to the healer, but
My son's hurt bad. Cart overturned on him in the blasted bone pit.
everyone in your turn. I promise we have donations coming in. There will be food and medicine for all of you.
The Freldon's like me. Fuck it. No, I can't really afford it. I don't give a damn. The Ferelden's like me. They didn't have the luck and the chances that I did. Yes, giving that money away was probably bloody stupid. I don't give a shit. The Ferelden's like me. I need to have empathy. Not everyone got the lucky break I did. It's the duty of those who are better off to help those who are worse off. It is the duty and an obligation. It is why we have a... It is the only thing that justifies us being better off, is to help those worse off.
If you're seeking aid, leave your name with my girl. We serve everyone here. No one came from Ferelden without trouble. But I can't give priority to anyone who's already found work and lodging. Is there a way I can assist these people? If you've coin to spare, we won't turn it down. Donations go in the box up front. Anything else?
I already donated.
I hear you know where I can find a Ferelden Grey Warden. Only Ferelden Grey Warden I've heard of is sitting on the throne. We're out of the Blight's path now. Why would you need a warden?
The healer was one of them once, wasn't he? A warden?
Well, he's not now, and busy enough without answering fool questions about it. Who are you protecting? You see what our people face in Kirkwall. They have no jobs, no homes. Most can barely buy bread. This healer, he serves them without thought for coin. He's closed their wounds, delivered their children.
And yet he needs to hide.
He's a good man. I won't lose him to the blighted Templars.
Uh-huh.
You mean he's a mage? Would I stick my neck out for some purveyor of hensbane and leeches?
We would never turn someone over to the Templars, mistress. Never.
No, we
He
wouldn't.
doesn't want to be locked in the gallows just for using the gifts the Maker gave him.
I mean him no harm.
Your healer is in no danger from me.
If this mage is an apostate, the Templars will find him.
No maid should suffer for an accident of birth.
I suppose it isn't my secret to keep. Anders has certainly been free enough with his services. Refugees in Darktown know, to find the healer, look for the lit lantern. If you have need enough, Anders will be within.
Is there any flour? We've been out for a week. The children are eating sawdust.
So far, that's pretty admirable. He sounds admirable. He sounds good. That all sounds very nice.
For a week. The children are eating sawdust.
So I admire and respect that.
I've got 5 kids to feed. Where do I find work?
Okay.
Hey, we heard you in there asking about the healer. We know what happens to mages in this town, and it ain't gonna happen to him.
Bethany?
Look, we're Ferelden's just trying to keep out of the Templar's sight, same as you.
Ferelden? But your clothes. I figured you for a Kirkwaller, sorry. Make her bless the rule of our King Alistair.
Okay, we'll head to Darktown.
Did Lothering have any lineage?
It wasn't a big enough village to have a wall around it, let alone a place for elves.
Where do the elves live then?
Stables and outbuildings mostly.
I think I like alienages better.
I agree. That's a better setup. Actually, we might as well drop this off.
Being a guardsman seems like a better life than being a soldier.
Oh?
My brother was a soldier. It's all about taking land and serving some king you've never met. Guardsmen, they do something real. They protect people. They make their lives better.
I don't know if I agree.
Neither would my brother.
How many people didn't make it out of here? We were lucky.
Yeah. Here you go, Taryn.
This is yours, if I'm not mistaken.
You found it? By the void, I didn't think... Thank you.
Welcome, my dear friend, to Sol's shop. My name is Solicitus. Please take a look around. My apologies in advance. Our shelves are a bit bare at the moment. Actually, if you're interested, I could use a bit of help to remedy that.
What do you need?
How can I help?
It's been too dangerous to leave the city of late, and the substances I require for my creations are, of course, elsewhere. Perhaps you could find them. You'll be compensated for your time, have no fear. I'll also give you first pick of my new creations.
Okay.
Make up a list of what you need, and I'll keep an eye out for you.
Perfect. A discount on everything in the shop, Syrah.
Sounds adequate. Let's see what we've got here.
Welcome back to Souls, my friend.
There has to be a better way.
Let's go talk to Sebastian.
Your family can rest now. Their killers are gone.
Excuse me, who are... My post to the Chanter's board? Did Her Grace let that stay? I thought for sure no one even read, but you say you've killed them. You have my eternal gratitude, Syrah. It is comforting to think my parents might now rest easily in their graves.
Tell me about yourself.
Who are you exactly?
I am Sebastian Vale, Prince of Starkhaven. Her Grace might prefer I introduce myself as a brother in the Chantry, but I could not stay after what happened to my family.
Why didn't your family's enemies hunt you down as well?
That's why I took the offensive. Thanks to you, those Flint Company assassins are no longer a danger. I'm the last of my line. Unless I survive, my family will have no justice.
Who sent these mercenaries?
My family has ruled Starkhaven for 6 generations. We have enemies, but none who would identify themselves openly. A distant cousin of mine is claiming rulership now, but he is a bit simple. He can be no more than a pawn in this plot.
Surely you have a guess as to who was behind it.
My parents were always prudent in how they handled our nobles. They did not allow rivalries or resentments to flourish. The attack must have come from outside. Kirkwall is our largest trading partner. I came back here to find support for my claim, and perhaps for a clue as to who is behind this foul deed.
Who sent these mercenaries?
My family has ruled Starkhaven for 6 generations. We have enemies, but none who would identify themselves openly. A distant cousin of mine is claiming rulership now, but he is a bit simple. He can be no more than a pawn in this plot.
I'm glad I could help.
I hope their deaths bring you peace.
Thank you. More than I can say. I truly did not expect anyone but me to take up this cause. Consider this in advance. When I have secured my lands again, you will be paid royally. Now, if you'll excuse me, I must meet with the Viscount and petition him for aid to a fellow city.
Okay. In the face of danger, sometimes the bravest thing is to stand back and trust that the Maker will see justice done. Sebastian Vale is the only surviving son of the ruling family of Starkhaven, which was murdered in a violent coup d'etat. Sebastian cannot forget the irony that he still lives. Sebastian cannot forget the irony that he still lives only because his family was so ashamed of his drinking and womanizing that they committed him to the Kirkwall Chantry against his will. After initially rejecting a priest's lifestyle, Sebastian was more surprised than anyone when he realized that his show of faith had turned real. Since then, his belief in the Maker and his plan for Thetis have been unshakable. Embracing his new role, Sebastian took vows of poverty and chastity to become a sworn brother of the Chantry, until word of his family's deaths forced him to take up worldly concerns once again. Grand Cleric Elthena, Sebastian's mentor and friend, hopes to convince him to walk away from the struggle for Starkhaven and return to the good works of the Chantry.
Blessed art thou who exists in the sight of the Maker. Sing of the chant so that it may reach his ears.
You know, I heard Sister Alima has been dipping into the spirits again.
Have you noticed the smell coming off her lately? It's like she's been swimming in hard liquor.
Let's just hope she doesn't get too close to the candles.
Ran off again after we fed them.
I wish they'd let us help them. It'd be better than scraping by on the streets of Darktown.
They mean well, if a bit staid.
In the sight of the Maker. Sing of the chant so that
it would be most
reach
appreciated if you didn't come clomping through here like a herd of cattle.
I shall not be left
The amount of
alone
noise you're
now
making
the
is
roads of
ridiculous.
the Fade. For there is no... Oh, Maker, why can't I remember how it...
There was once a tiny fishing village on the waking sea that was set upon by the Tevinter Imperium, which enslaved the villagers to be sold in the markets of Minrathous, leaving behind only the old and the infirm. One of the captives was the child Andraste. She was raised in slavery in a foreign land. She escaped and made the long and treacherous journey back to her homeland alone. She rose from nothing to be the wife of an Alamari warlord. Each day she sang to the gods, asking them to help her people, who remained slaves in Tevinter. The false gods of the mountains and the winds did not answer her, but the true God did. The Maker spoke. He showed her all the works of his hands, the Fade, the world, and all the creatures therein. He showed her how men had forgotten him, lavishing devotion upon mute idols and demons, and how he had left them to their fate. But her voice had reached him, and so captivated him, that he offered her a place at his side, that she might rule all of creation. But Andraste would not forsake her people. She begged the Maker to return, to save his children from the cruelty of the Imperium. Reluctantly, the Maker agreed to give man another chance. Andraste went back to her husband Mathrath, and told him that all the Maker had revealed to her. Together they rallied the Alamari and marched forth against the mage lords of the Imperium, and the Maker was with them. The Maker's sword was creation itself, fire and flood, famine and earthquake. Everywhere they went, Andraste sang to the people of the Maker, and they heard her. The ranks of Andraste's followers grew, until they were a vast tide washing over the Imperium. And when Mathras saw that the people loved Andraste and not him, a worm grew within his heart, gnawing upon it. At last, the armies of Andraste and Mathras stood before the very gates of Minrathous. But Andraste was not with them, for Mathrath had schemed in secret to hand Andraste over to the Tevinter. For this the Archon would give Mathrath all the lands to the south of the Waking Sea. And so, before the armies of the Alamari and of Tevinter, Andraste was tied to a stake and burned, while her earthly husband turned his armies aside and did nothing, for his heart had been devoured. But as he watched the pyre of the Archon softened, he took pity on Andraste and drew his sword and granted her the mercy of a quick death. The Maker wept for his beloved, cursed Mathrath, cursed mankind for their betrayal. The Maker wept for his beloved, cursed Mathrath, cursed mankind for their betrayal, and turned once again from creation, taking only Andraste with him. And Our Lady sits still at his side, where she still urges him to take pity on his children. From the Sermons of Justinia II. Mana is that which defines a mage. It is potential that dwells within a person but does not always manifest itself. All men are connected to the Fade. We go there to dream. But only those with this potential may draw upon its power. Mana is, then, a measurement of one's ability to draw power from the Fade, and it is this power that is expended in magic. As in all other things, it has limits. Just as a man has the strength to lift only so much weight, no more. A mage cannot work more magic at one time than his mana allows. If he wishes to work magic that would be beyond his strength, a mage must bolster his magic with lyrium. Without lyrium, it is possible for the reckless to expend their life force on the working of magic, and occasionally ambitious apprentices injure or even kill themselves by overexertion. From the lectures of First Enchanter Wenceslas. Tal Vashoth. Being lost in an ancient Tevinter ruin in northern Ravine is highly overrated, and then I found myself beset by several bands of Qunari, apparently working in concert. I fled and managed to hide in a little village by the name of Vindar. The people there, mostly humans and a few elves, were devout followers of the Qun. It was the most organized village I ever laid eyes on. The houses were identical and ranged along perfectly orthogonal lines. The fields were well tended and apparently communal. But there were signs of damage everywhere, as if the town had suffered repeated sieges. Buildings shattered, fields burned, and a great many empty houses. I spent the night in the home of Vindar's matriarch, who introduced herself only as Seer. When I tried to regale my hostess with the tale of my Qunari assailants, I discovered something. Qunari, Seer said, are people who follow the Qun. Her people, those born into Qunari society who reject the Qun, are called Vashoth, which means grey ones. These grey ones must leave their homes, for they have no place among the Qunari. Sadly, many turn against the society that cast them out. These outcasts call themselves Tal Vashoth, the true grey ones. Often they have no skills to make an honest living, so they sell themselves into service, usually becoming mercenaries. Even the most inept fighter among the Qunari race possesses prodigious size and an intimidating visage. These, she informed me, were my attackers in the countryside, the same band that wreaked such havoc on Vindar. The Tal Vashoth wage a bitter war against the Qun, the Qunari, and sometimes against the Order itself. They are no match for the Qunari army, so they generally strike at farms, travelers, and those who stray too far from Qunari protection. I was lucky to escape with my life. Oh, that's from Brother Genitivi. I'm not in a position to talk to her just yet. Rather, I would read... The Maker. There was no word, for heaven or for earth, for sea or sky. All that existed was silence. Then the voice of the Maker rang out, the first word, and his word became all that might be. Dream and idea, hope and fear, endless possibilities. And from it made his firstborn, and he said to them, in my image I forge you. To you I give dominion. Over all that exists, by your will, may all things be done. Then in the center of heaven he called forth a city with towers of gold, streets with music for cobblestones, and banners which flew without wind. There he dwelled, waiting to see the wonders his children would create. The children of the Maker gathered before his golden throne, and sang hymns of praise unending, but their songs were the songs of the cobblestones. They shone with the golden light, reflected from the Maker's throne. They held forth the banners that flew on their own. And then the voice of the Maker shook the Fade, saying, In my image I have brought my firstborn. You have been given dominion over all that exists. By your will all things are done, yet you do nothing. The realm I have given you is formless, ever-changing. And he knew he had wrought amiss, so the Maker turned from his firstborn and took from the Fade a measure of its living flesh, and placed it apart from the spirits, and spoke to it, saying, Here I decree opposition in all things, for earth, sky, for winter, summer, for darkness, light. By my will alone is balance sundered, and the world given new life. And no longer was it formless, ever-changing, but held fast, immutable, with words for heaven and for earth, sea, and sky. At last did the Maker, from the living world, make men, immutable, as the substance of the earth, with souls made of dream and ideas, hope and fear, endless possibilities. Then the Maker said, To you, my second-born, I grant this gift. In your heart shall burn an unquenchable flame, all-consuming and never satisfied. From the Fade I crafted you, and to the Fade you shall return, each night in dreams, that you may always remember me. And then the Maker sealed the gates of the golden city, and there he dwelled, waiting to see the wonders his children would create. Thridonies 5, 1-8. I wonder if the Maker is not so much how the Maker views himself in terms of names, but rather the name that we have given as a reflection of how we see the Maker. Could it be the Maker sees himself in terms outside of being the Maker, as a god? Because being something that creates is only one function of a god. So is there a fundamental problem with us calling the Maker, if he is more than that, from his own perception, as opposed to ours? The Sermons of Divine Renata I. The weakness of mortal will is the greatest failing of all the Maker's children. We trade our honor as if it were the cheapest of currency. We do not understand what integrity is, or what it is truly worth. From this ignorance, original sin was born. At some time, each of us has thought, What does it matter if I hold my integrity? I am but one mortal. I am powerless. How blind we all are. The virtue of a single slave destroyed the Tevinter Imperium, Andraste. The dishonor of one man drove the Maker from our side. Mathrath. Blech. I tell you truly, nothing but the integrity of our hearts will win the love of the Maker back to us. It is all the power we shall ever possess to change this world for good or for ill. From a sermon on integrity. I enjoyed reading that. I actually enjoy and find soothing and satisfying ecclesiastical works. I will speak with you later. No, I will speak with you now.
Maker's blessing, child. I am Elthena, Grand Cleric of Kirkwall, and I believe you're new to our city. It was a near thing what happened in Ferelden, but in the end, the Maker stepped in.
Tell me about Meredith.
I hear a lot about the Knight Commander here. What can you tell me?
Gossip is a sin, child. Knight Commander Meredith has an admirable devotion to her duties.
To the exclusion of all else.
It is not my role to form opinions on her character.
Why keep mages in the gallows?
Why are circle mages here kept in a Tevinter prison?
Ah, so soon you take an interest in our problems. The short answer is it was a building, a large one. Should it have sat empty? The Chantry found a use for what was once a horror. It is the nature of men to move on and forget the past. Even your blight will be a distant memory in our lifetimes.
Although I must confess that the blight stops being such a thing if it wins and eradicates humanity. And there are future blights that may accomplish that. Still, it's best to have good relations with the Chantry, and I do believe.
Can I get your benediction?
May the Maker bless and keep you. May his smile grace all the days of your life, and his light guide you to his side.
So let it be.
So let it be.
We will never have peace unless we try to understand one another. A noble sentiment. I approve. Revered Mother Elthena assumed the mantle of Grand Cleric almost 20 years ago. She is responsible for the spiritual well-being of the Southern Free Marches, everything south of Starkhaven and the Minanta River. She has long been a calming presence in the city, renowned for her kindness and generosity, all positive traits. People frequently turn to her to mediate disputes, particularly those involving the powerful Templar Order, over whom she holds authority as the Chantry's ranking representative. Good. Some claim that Elthena's advanced age has rendered her ineffective, and that she allows Knight Commander Meredith more leeway with each passing year. That's a legitimate worry. Some are calling on the new divine Justinian V to appoint a replacement, but they do so quietly, for Elthena is by far the most beloved priest the city has ever known. Perhaps the solution there is to make her a priest emeritus. Appoint someone to handle the day-to-day working affairs, a practical, powerful, pragmatic individual, similar to a Nora. And then you have a more symbolic actor who's representative of kindness and unity. That's what I would do anyway. A head of government and a head of state. They need a head of government, and she can play the role of head of state to unify and commend people to stand together. In the 30th year of the Steel Age, the first Qunari ships were sighted off the coast of Parvalan in the far north, marking the beginning of a new age of warfare. History calls this the First Qunari War, but it was mostly a one-sided bloodbath, with the Qunari advancing far into the mainland. Qunari warriors in glittering steel armor carved through armies with ease. Their cannons, the likes of which our ancestors had never seen, reduced city walls to rubble in a matter of seconds. Stories of Qunari occupation vary greatly. It is said they dismantled families and sent captives to learning camps for indoctrination into their religion. Those who refused to cooperate disappeared to mines or construction camps. For every tale of suffering, however, there is another of enlightenment deriving from something called the Qun. This is either a philosophical code or a written text that governs all aspects of Qunari life, perhaps both. One converted Saharan reported pity for those who had refused to embrace the Qun, as if the conquerors had led him to a sort of self-discovery. For all my life, I followed the Maker wherever his path led me, he wrote. But in the Qun, I have found the means to travel my own path. Interesting. It has been said that the most complete way to wipe out a people is not with blades, but with the books. This is incredibly true. Thankfully, a world that had repelled 4 blights would not easily bow to a foreign aggressor, and so the exalted marches began. The greatest advantage of the Chantry-led forces was the Circle of Magi. For all their technology, the Qunari appeared to harbor great hatred for magic. Faced with cannons, the Chantry responded with lightning and balls of fire. The Qunari armies lacked the sheer numbers of humanity. So many were slain at Marnus Pell on both sides that the Vale is said to be permanently sundered, the ruins still plagued by restless corpses. But each year the Chantry pushed further and further into the Qunari lines, although local converts to the Qun proved difficult to return to Andraste's teachings, and I would not return them to those teachings. By the end of the Storm Age, the Qunari were truly pushed back. Rivain was the only human land that retained the Qunari religion after being freed, and its rulers attempted to barter a peace. Most human lands signed the Lomaran Accord, accepting the Tevinter Imperium, because they're dipshits. It is a shaky peace that has lasted to this day. But Sister Patrine. I don't think I would have tried to convert them back, forcibly. I would have presented our own religion in a positive light and tried to win them over on that basis. But I don't think I would have done it at a barrel of a gun. Or more properly, I would not have done it with a sword. Cordelis Dracon, king of the city-state of Orlais, which is not a city-state anymore, it's a grand empire, was a man of uncommon ambition, arguably the greatest empire, even beyond Tevinter. on the whole continent of Thetis. In the year 15 native 15 ancient, the young king began construction of a great temple dedicated to the Maker. The young king began construction of a great temple dedicated to the Maker, and declared that by its completion he would not only have united the warring city-states of the south, he would have brought Andrastian belief to the world. In -3 ancient, the temple was completed. There, in its heart, Drakon knelt before the eternal flame of Andraste, was crowned ruler of the Empire of Orlais. His first act as emperor, to declare the Chantry as the established Andrastian religion of the empire. It took 3 years and 700 votes before Alessa of Montsamard was elected to lead the new Chantry. Upon her coronation as divine, she took the name Justinia, in honor of the disciple who recorded Andraste's songs. In that moment, the ancient era ended, and the divine age began. For Ferelden, Folklore and History, by Sister Petrine, Chantry Scholar. Locks of the Golden Fool. A satirical tome about a deluded brother of the Chantry who sought peace between elves and humans. A condemnation of fanatics of both races. It is favored by radical elves choosing to live in Darktown. History of the Chantry, Chapter 1. The first blight devastated the Tevinter Imperium. Not only had the Darkspawn ravaged the countryside, but Tevinter's citizens had to face the fact that their own gods had turned against them. Dumat, the old god once known as the Dragon of Silence, had risen to silence the world. And despite the frenzied pleas for help, the other old gods did nothing. The people of the Imperium began to question their faith, murdering priests and burning temples to punish their gods for not returning to help. In those days, even after the devastation of the First Blight, the Imperium stretched across the known world. Fringed with barbarian tribes, the Imperium was well prepared for invasions and attacks from without. Fitting, then, that the story of its downfall begins from within. The people of the far northern and eastern reaches of the Imperium rose up against their powerful overlords in rebellion. The Tevinter Magisters summoned demons to put down these small rebellions, leaving corpses to burn as examples to all who would dare revolt. The Imperium began to tear itself apart from within, throngs of angry and disillusioned citizens doing what centuries of opposing armies could not. But the Magisters were confident in their power, and they could not imagine surviving a blight only to be destroyed by their own subjects. Even after the blight, Tevinter commanded an army larger than that of any other organized nation in Thetis, but that army was scattered and its morale dwindling. The ruin of Tevinter was such that the Alomari barbarians, who had spread their clans and holds over the wilderness of the Ferelden Valley at the far southeast edge of the Imperium, saw weakness in their enemy, and after an age of oppression embarked on a campaign not only to free their own lands, but to bring down mighty Tevinter as well. The leaders of that blessed campaign were the great barbarian warlord Mathrath and his wife Andraste. Their dreams and ambitions would change the world forever. From Brother Genitivity. And no, I don't view them. These truths the Maker has revealed to me. There is but one world, one life, one death. There is but one God, and he is our Maker. They are sinners who have given their love to false gods. Magic exists to serve man, and never to rule over him. Foul and corrupt are they who have taken his gift and turned it against his children. They shall be named Maleficar, accursed ones. They shall find no rest in this world or beyond. All men are the work of our Maker's hands, from the lowest slaves to the highest kings. Those who bring him harm without provocation to the least of his children are hated and accursed by the Maker. Those who bear false witness and work to deceive others know this. There is but one truth. All things are known to our Maker, and he shall judge their lies. All things in the world are finite. What one man gains, another has lost. Those who steal from their brothers and sisters do harm to their own livelihood and to their peace of mind. Our Maker sees this with a heavy heart. Transfiguration 1:1-5.